My fellow Americans, today we witness yet another chapter in President Donald Trump's ongoing crusade to restore common sense, accountability, and fairness to American institutions. This time, the battleground is our nation's universities, those supposed temples of free thought and rigorous debate, but which, in recent years, have fallen prey to ideological corruption and bureaucratic excess. From the moment he returned to the Oval Office, President Trump made his priorities crystal clear. No longer would the White House stand idly by as radical ideologies overtook our campuses. No longer would taxpayer dollars flow unchecked into institutions that failed to uphold the basic rights of their students. And now, the results of that leadership are clear for all to see. One of the most remarkable victories of this renewed effort is playing out at the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school long considered untouchable by conservative influence. But under Trump's leadership, even the liberal strongholds of academia are no longer immune to accountability. For years, Penn has been criticized for its tepid response to antisemitism on campus. Jewish students and faculty voiced concerns, protests erupted, and yet, leadership at the university offered little more than hollow statements and vague promises. That is, until the Trump administration took action. By threatening to withhold federal funding, Trump sent a message to every college president in America: address hatred on your campus, or lose your access to taxpayer dollars. And that wasn't all. President Trump has also gone to war for the integrity of women's sports. No longer willing to watch biological males take opportunities away from female athletes, Trump promised to undo the disastrous policies of his predecessor, Joe Biden. Biden's Title IX rewrite, which prioritized gender identity over biological sex, threw open the doors of women's spaces to anyone claiming a female identity, regardless of biology. It was a decision that undermined decades of progress for women's rights. But Trump said enough. He vowed to restore protections for female athletes. He promised to defend the very concept of women's sports and women's privacy, something that for centuries was common sense but today is somehow controversial. And at Penn, where controversy erupted over transgender athletes competing in women's sports, the administration finally heard the wake-up call. They could no longer ignore the voices of parents, athletes, and everyday Americans demanding fairness. This is what leadership looks like. It is leadership that is unafraid to confront the ideological orthodoxy of academia. It is leadership that listens not to activist mobs, but to the citizens who expect their schools to be places of learning, not political indoctrination. President Trump's efforts don't stop at Penn. Across the country, his administration has taken aim at the bloated diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucracies that have ballooned on college campuses. These DEI offices, funded by your tax dollars, have grown into sprawling institutions pushing ideological conformity and silencing dissent. Trump has moved decisively to dismantle them. By rolling back federal grants and contracts to institutions pushing divisive identity politics, he has forced universities to rethink their priorities. And those priorities must be education, merit, and freedom of speech, not political activism. The left predicted chaos when Trump returned to office. They warned of backlash and resistance from academia. But instead, what we're seeing is compliance. University presidents, once untouchable in their ivory towers, now scramble to align with federal mandates or risk losing billions in research funding, student aid, and campus programs. Trump's message is simple: if you want taxpayer support, you must serve all Americans, not just the radical few. He is restoring sanity to a system long held captive by fringe ideology. The fight against antisemitism on campus is a moral obligation, not a partisan issue. Trump has made it clear that hatred of any form has no place in higher education, and he's backing those words with action. And when it comes to women's sports, the administration is standing firm. No young girl should train her whole life, only to be forced to compete against biological males who have an undeniable physical advantage. No female athlete should lose a scholarship because her opponent was born male. These are the principles President Trump is defending. And while the liberal media may cry foul, the American people overwhelmingly support fairness in sports and accountability in education. These victories are not just political wins, they are cultural course corrections. They are restoring balance where radicalism has run rampant. They are giving a voice back to students and parents who have been ignored for too long. And they are showing that no institution, no matter how prestigious, is above the law. The University of Pennsylvania now finds itself at a crossroads. It can choose to protect its legacy by embracing fairness and rejecting extremism. Or it can continue down the path of division and face the consequences. President Trump has laid down the challenge, not only to Penn but to every college and university across this nation. America's campuses must once again become places of learning, not battlegrounds for radical politics. The day bureaucracies will shrink. Speech codes that silence dissent will fall. And federal dollars will follow fairness, not ideology. This is the America Trump promised, and is now delivering. For too long, our universities have insulated themselves from accountability, protected by political alliances and cultural influence. No more. President Trump's winning streak is a testament to the power of conviction over cowardice, of leadership over political expediency. He is proving that conservative values are not confined to red states or rural towns. They resonate even in the liberal heart of academia. This is not the end of the fight. It is the beginning of a national reckoning for higher education. The days of unchecked radicalism are numbered. The American people are watching. And President Trump is leading the charge. Our campuses will change. Our culture will shift. And our children will once again be free to learn in institutions that prize truth, fairness, and freedom over political correctness. The battle is far from over. But with every win, President Trump is proving that courage and leadership still matters. And that, my friends, is something worth celebrating.